Hi YouTube, Regina here. So, today's topic. Today I wanted to talk to you about something a bit different. I am about 15 months away from retiring. I plan to retire in the spring of 2026, or late spring, that is. And I spoke to my boss about it this week, and he asked me if I would consider staying on, at least being a personal assistant to him when I retire, just working part time. And I thought about it for a second, and then I gracefully declined because to me, when I'm retired, I want to be able to choose what I want to do, and doing something that would be not a hobby or just specifically earning money just to do something to earn money, to me wouldn't feel like I'm retired. I would feel tethered, and it's not my definition of retirement. And so today I wanted to talk to you about being unretired. And I wanted to talk to you about the retirement police. They're out there on the internet. They're determining whether or not you're doing financial independence properly, whether or not you're doing retirement right. And so there are many reasons why people choose to work in retirement. And so while I made the choice today that I do not plan to work in a similar role to what I'm doing now in retirement, that doesn't mean that I won't ever make money. Being retired doesn't necessarily mean that you have to continually or you have to exit the workforce for good. You can go to points in time where you retire, you unretire, you retire, you unretire, and you're making some money during retirement. Being financially independent, to me, gives you the opportunity to choose what you want to do with your time. It doesn't mean that your choice means that you're not allowed to ever earn money. Now, the retirement police would probably judge that approach. Now, who are the retirement police? The retirement police, they're like a police force that's out there on the internet, really, but it's more than just the internet. There are external police, and then there are the internal police. So we'll talk about the two forces out there. So the external one are your family, your friends, social media, society, that look at what you're doing in retirement and are judging you whether or not you're doing it right. And so you're retired, you should be relaxing. You shouldn't be working a side hustle. Can you really be buying that? Aren't you on a fixed income? You're retired. Can you do that? That's not what I would be doing with my retirement. You shouldn't be doing that in retirement. That's boring. And then there are the internal police. That's your own mindset, your own self-imposed rules on what you think your retirement should look like. And so that would be you thinking, am I failing at retirement because I am not spending money, or I'm spending too much, or the fact that I'm working part-time, does that mean I'm a failure at retirement? Am I doing enough to maximize my retirement? So that's a big one that happens for people. They wonder if their retirement experience is what it should be. When you retire, you become the chief retirement affairs officer. There are no rules. There is no blueprint. There is no wrong way or right way for you to pursue your retirement. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, and that's including yourself. It's up to you on what you want to do. And there are many reasons why people choose to work in retirement. And I'm going to go through those. But you should consider doing some of these things if there is a financial need and if it would give some sense of purpose to your retirement. So let's go through them. Back in the day when I was a kid, I worked at a fast food place. And I worked with a gentleman by the name of Jerry. Jerry was retired. Jerry was in his 80s and he worked weekends at White Castle. He would work the register. He was so lively. People would come in for miles just to see Jerry. They knew he'd be working Saturday and Sunday. And so we would make a lot of money during the times he was there. And I know this because one of the things that White Castle used to do is they used to look at man per hour. And so you would look at the proceeds of what the register made, you'd look at the revenue, and you would divide it by the number of people working. And if the man hours felt too much, you would need to release someone and send them home. I know because I was a manager, and so I would have to send people home if we were not making enough money. But during the hours that Jerry was there, we were always making money. And he didn't work a lot, but he chose to work for some of these reasons on the list that I'm going to go through. And some of them may make sense to you, but typically what happens is a lot of people, or 40% of Americans that is, rely solely on Social Security as their only source of income in retirement. And Social Security was only ever meant to be 40% of retirement needs. It wasn't meant to be the full range of all your retirement costs. And a good retirement plan should fund about 70% at least of what you were making pre-retirement, because that would say it would cover all your costs. So if you're in line to try to live a similar lifestyle to what you were doing before you left the workforce, that's kind of where you would want to be. But Social Security has gone down significantly over time. So the more people are earning, it's gone down from what people are making because incomes vary so widely. So the median income on Social Security is about $1,900. That's not enough to cover, in most states, 40% of people's needs. When you consider housing costs, just for an apartment alone could be $1,500 just for a studio in most cities. And so it's no wonder some people have to unretire or work in retirement. So let's talk about them. So the number one reason why is financial security and flexibility. So even someone who's well prepared and has a good retirement planning, working and earning extra income in retirement can boost their plan. It could boost their cash flow, and it could reduce the need of having to touch from someone's retirement savings. And so it can affect the amount that you touch your withdrawal rate. So if you're looking to, instead of withdrawing 4 or 5% from your portfolio, and you want to move down to withdrawing less than that so you have your money growing for you, then consider working in retirement. That can extend your portfolio's longevity. It also could give you the money that you need for discretionary income. A lot of people are not earning enough money in retirement, and so they don't have the money to spend on discretionary items. They can't take themselves out to eat. They can't do anything. And so working in retirement gives people that option. The next reason why people work in retirement is because of market volatility. And sometimes what happens is, depending on the year someone retires, it could be they are subject to sequence of return risk, or their portfolio goes down because the year they retire, the stock market just drops. And if you are touching your retirement during the years it drops, you can run into the risk of running out of money. And so working in retirement, even a little bit, can hedge the risk on market volatility. And it gives your investments an opportunity to recover from any drops in the market. So if your portfolio fell during the early years of your retirement, consider working part-time or doing anything that would bring in some income. It does not mean that you're unretired because you're earning some income. It means that you're making sure that you have years to recover from any drops in the market, and it will actually give you a better chance of making sure you don't run out of money in later in life. The next reason why people consider working in retirement or unretiring, that is, or working part time, would be delaying Social Security and pension benefits. So some people still get a pension, and depending on if they delay their pension, it could mean that they get a bigger payment if they're delayed. The same thing goes with Social Security. Back when I was a teenager, anyone could collect Social Security and their full benefits at the age of 65. But what they started to do is they started to raise the Social Security full retirement age, and it is now completely at 67. There is no one who benefits any longer that can retire at the age of 66 and 9 months or 10 months. Everyone at this point in time to reach full retirement age, it is now 67 years of age. And so working in retirement means some people can delay their Social Security so that they can have a higher benefit later in life. Now, this is really highly controversial because some people perceive that they should take Social Security at 62. It's their money. They could just put the money and invest the money, and that money could grow, and at least they're getting their money now while they're alive. And they worry that they're not going to be around by the time it takes to recoup the money that they would have collected had they started taking it at 62. Now, that comes down to a family tree longevity question, whether or not it makes sense for you. But in terms of beating the market, taking the money and beating the market on the market returns, you would need to get an 8.43% return year over year just to get the same 43% return. The stock market, while it may average a higher return than 8%, when you look at it from a long-term perspective, over a 5-year span, it is very rare that you get the same 43% return that you would had you invested that money you got from Social Security. And what ends up happening is people don't invest it. They think they could do better than they would if they were to beat the market. And they perceive that it's just going to be a 30% drop if they take it early. Well, that's not completely true. It's a 43% gain that you would have to get just to get the same amount of money that you would have collected at 67. So there is that. So that is why some people continue to work even part-time. So they use working part-time almost like a barista fire kind of thing, where they're earning some money and they're able to live on the rest of their own money before they collect Social Security. So delaying Social Security is a reason why. Another reason why people choose to unretire while they are working in retirement is because of healthcare costs. So healthcare costs, depending on, in retirement, there are some places that you could work part-time and get healthcare benefits. And so that is a perk of working. So some people want to work just to be able to find healthcare that they themselves don't have to outlay the money. Or maybe it's just that they have high healthcare costs and they want to make sure that they're covered in the event that they have a healthcare emergency. So, but they're looking mostly in the case is to have access to employer-sponsored health plans is generally the reason why a lot of people choose to work sometime in retirement when it comes to if they're choosing the health insurance as their reasoning for working. The next reason why people choose to work in retirement is because of the psychological and social benefits. Many retirees miss the structure, the purpose, and the social interaction that they get. I know that this was one of the biggest reasons why Jerry was working in his 80s at White Castle. He loved being around people and he missed the social interactions and the liveliness of being around younger people. While he lived in a retirement community and he had access to programs that allowed him to be around older adults, the idea of being around younger adults, he enjoyed that, and we enjoyed being around him as well. He made work fun. The next reason why people choose to work in retirement is because inflation and cost of living, um, it's high. And so if you work in retirement, then you can cover the cost of rising goods. And the cost continues to go up for some people. And so depending on where you are and depending on how you spend your money. But just being able to afford continuing the same lifestyle you had may mean that you need to work in retirement even a little bit part-time, just to cover the erosion that inflation has on your purchasing power. So those are some of the reasons why people are strategically unretiring or working while they're retired. Are they unretired if they work part-time? I don't think so. I think that working part-time in retirement is simply working part-time in retirement. Now, if someone chooses to completely unretire and go back to working full-time, and they're back to, back in an employer and full-time employment, then they're working. So that to me would be putting retirement on hold and pursuing it and going back to it. So in that case, I would say they would be unretired. But you're not unretired because you are working part-time, in my humble opinion. Retirement has no blueprint. You can work and earn money. You can turn a hobby into a side hustle, and you can do volunteering and travel and spend money and completely relax on the beach. It's up to you what you want to do with your time. And don't let anyone make you feel that you're not doing it right. It's up to you. If you yourself feel that you're not making the best of your retirement, then you can make some changes. But don't let at least the internet retirement police come after you and make you feel wrong for earning money, because there are no rules on, well, Social Security has stipulations on how much you can earn before. Well, there are no steadfast rules that you can't earn money in retirement and still be retired. You just might have some penalties from Social Security if you earn too much. I think it's over 22,400 this year or something like that. Anyway, if someone knows, put it in the comment section. I didn't keep up to what the maximum you can earn on Social Security before they reduce your benefit. And by the way, when they reduce your benefit, you get the money back when you turn 67. They just divide that payment over the course of longevity of what they perceive your longevity will be. So it's not like you completely lose the money, but your earning power would go down, and Social Security would start to take some of your payment away from you if you earn too much in retirement. Anyway, this is Regina from Simply Fundamental. I hope that if you are working in retirement, that you're earning some good money. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. My clicker never works.